Oh.
That was great because it sounded like somebody was farting out a cork.
Yep.
And
Ooh.
That was coffee sized.
yeah. Y'all, it's Julie's birthday, so she just poured a wee dram in her coffee because we're recording relatively early for us.
Mm-hmm.
Happy birthday. Is it your birthday?
Thanks, guys.
Hard to know, is it not? I don't know.
Something
or other.
I'm always really weird. I don't know how to respond to birthday shit because I'm not a birthday person. So I'm always just like, thanks.
She was a famous podcast person from Arkansas the way. She had a big fat ass and it could really sway. She was the top gal at her craft. And she really liked to talk about a shaft. She's in a podcast now, drinking booze and coffee. She's the boogie woogie, bugle Julie. Fuck you, lady. I don't know. I got nothing.
That was pretty good.
I'm workshopping it. I'm workshopping it.
Excellent.
Y'all, have I ever told you, I'm saying this like you can respond to me. Have I ever told you listener, the limerick that I wrote for Julie once? This might be the best thing I've ever done in my entire life.
Please, just do it. Sorry, I'm eating a scone with clotted cream. Also a gift from Allison. She knows me.
Okay. I was making sure I remembered it. Here we go. Here's the limerick I wrote for Julie. There once was an Arkansas lass who had quite a sizable ass.
Or it was magnificent. Who had a
magnificent ass, something like that. There once was an Arkansas lass who had quite a marvelous ass.
That's right.
She said with a sway as she ambled away, inertia's determined by mass. Science jokes. Science jokes.
And then I told Neil that that's what I want on my tombstone is inertia's determined by mass.
Welcome to Podlander Asscast. Welcome to Podlander Birthday Cast. Welcome to Podlander Drunkcast and Outlander Podcast. I am Allison.
I'm Julie.
That's Janine.
Hello.
And we are talking about season 4, episode 11.
If not for Hope, there wouldn't be a script.
If not for episode titles, we wouldn't have had this hit us over the head so fucking much.
I wouldn't have heard the word hope 40 times already today.
God, it's like when people come up with a book title before they write the book, and then they're just waiting to work it in, as opposed to just writing something and then it comes later. You know what?
Well, the way they talked about it on the last at the very end, they were like, "Well, it kind of just rose to the surface as if this was the choice." Well, if you write hope 20 fucking times in 5 minutes, all you're gonna think about is that.
It's gonna come.
Either way, it was goddamn it too much.
I kept waiting for Big Bird to show up and go, the word of the day is hope.
Or Lemony Snicket going on. Hope in this case is where you're gonna find your mother not dead. I've been watching a series of Unfortunate
He's been watching a lot of a series of
I
Unfortunate
really like that show.
Yeah, they laid it on a little thick, like clotted cream.
Like clotted cream, exactly, which was what we were eating, and I'm still eating because now that it's back in my life, I just don't see it ever going away.
The next time I'm in Morse Market, I'm going to take a picture of where it is so you know.
Because
it's a little
like
hidden.
The pickles and the weird
It's by
part.
like the Baby Bell and the hot dogs and all that stuff.
I will keep an eye on.
all over there. I also have a jar at home. Tom was like, "What is this stuff?" It's like, just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait. Because, of course, I got a jar for myself, too.
Dwayne.
So we had some on banana bread this morning. It was great. Yeah. I've been baking a lot since I can't drink.
By the way, was that enough sugar? I didn't know.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you. We're
actually drinking coffee today.
Yeah, drinking coffee, and Julie's has a little bib and tucker. I bib and tucker. In hers, which is really nice bourbon. And Janine is also sipping his coffee.
Sipping that caffeine.
We really did like this episode. It's not like we're putting off talking about it, but I'm irritated. I'm irritated by the bird and bunniness of it all.
The hope thing, yeah.
Yeah. It was just it was a lot. And they seem to give Lord John Grey a lot of the, like, let's lay it on really thick stuff. And David Barry does a great job with it, like the fact that it's tolerable. But Lord John in the books, Lord John is like cracklingly intelligent. You know how sometimes you read a character and you're like, oh, this is the smartest person in this book. Well, almost everybody, almost all the main characters in Outlander are pretty fucking smart. Except for Lizzie.
God damn it, Lizzie.
Bless. And, there are some others, but like Fergus, smart. Jamie, obviously, insanely
Marsley,
smart. Claire,
smart.
very smart. Marsley, so smart. And she's smart in the books, too. They're all, Brianna, smart. Roger, smart. Joe Abernathy, may he rest in peace in the future, in the past, in the future past. Smart. Like, Joe Casta, obviously extremely smart. Maybe Billy Boyd, not so smart.
Oh my God.
But of all of them, Lord John is the one where you're like, wow, you're smart. There's a scene that I'm sure we will not see that I think maybe he just recounts it or it's real brief or God, maybe I'm not making it up. He's talking to Benjamin Franklin and Benjamin Franklin is
Of course he is.
nude in a greenhouse in France.
It's because he liked to be.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and in that conversation, you're like, well, Benjamin Franklin is the smarter one, but it's close.
It's pretty close.
He's really smart and it just makes him sound less smart.
When he says things, what was the line that he said where we were like, oh God, I can't remember. It was when they were on the porch.
Yeah, because it was the last goddamn big ass hope that they dropped on us.
Maybe it was.
Well, there was also like, when she was like,
Oh, it was don't lose hope. That's what he was saying.
no, I was thinking of when it's like, oh, yes, well, he must be like his father. And then he goes, yes, he is. And I was like, no.
Very much like his father. And it's like all over his face. And you're like, oh.
And then he's like, oh, but he's not mine.
Yeah.
He's not mine. And that's okay. And so maybe Roger will love your baby too. I thought those were really
Notice
smart.
that he didn't tell her that it was Jamie's.
Well, it's not his secret to tell.
I know, I
Lord
guess
John
so.
Grey, he's a vault.
Yeah.
He'll keep your secrets.
Wait,
Well, he's a good secret keeper.
He is a good secret. He's got a lot of practice.
It's Jamie's?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Willie?
Willie, remember this was before you were watching regularly. Pardon
Yeah.
me for the scone in my mouth. But in season 2, towards the beginning of the season, when he was working as an indentured servant on that plantation, Hellwater,
Yeah.
he had sex with the daughter,
Oh, yeah.
and that's his son.
Oh.
And Lord John
And
Grey
Lord
raised
John
him.
is raising him. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I do remember that slightly,
So
but
that's
now that's
part
a
of-
lot.
Yeah, that
More
was
intense.
You knew this because that's the whole plot of the episode where they come to visit. Is Jamie takes his son camping and Myrta figures it out by looking at him.
I told him that.
I think Ian figures it out too, and they didn't do it because he wasn't there. Something. Anyway,
Sorry,
All right,
I'm
well-
not drinking this year, and memories are coming back to me. Middle school was crazy, apparently.
so let's talk about if not for. Bleh.
Okay, so cold open was the Roger's hot shower dream. And you know what? If I was back then, I too would have dreams of a hot shower. And
That
then
was
we
a
realized
good gotcha.
Then we realize he's still with the Mohawk out on the road. So things continue with Roger apace.
I thought it was very smart and effective.
The title card of the show was some beautiful charcoal sketches. It looks like of the slaves from River Run, almost all of them. And then it cuts to the beginning of the show, and it's Bree who's drawing all these drawings. And she's sitting there at this table with her beautiful milky white skin and rubbing their charcoal all over the page like charcoal artists do. And then she actually touches her face, and there's not really a smear of charcoal on it. And I was like, nope, that's not how that happens. And then it cuts to Lizzie and then cuts back to her, and she's got like just the merest suggestion of charcoal, right? Just on her left cheekbone. No, it would have been like all over her face.
Up to her elbows.
Yes, it would have just been everywhere. So that to me was quite funny. So Lizzie comes in and begs for forgiveness, and Bree's like, yeah, fine. And then she's like, are you going to forgive your father? And Bree's like, don't worry about it.
Lizzie, listen, we cool because I know what you were trying to do, but you maybe sort of don't understand what's happening right now.
Yeah, so
Can we chill?
don't worry about it.
Yeah. Cool.
And then we flip to Claire, Jamie, and Ian, and they found Ian, because he can speak Cherokee, talked to a few Cherokee tribe members near them, and found out that they did recognize the medallion or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, that's I think they said Shadow Lake. Was that the name of where the Mohawk lived? But it was like 2 months away.
Damn.
So now we know they're really going to be on the road for a while.
2 months of camping.
And it was 2 months away, and that was right after we had the scene of Jamie and Claire with the two sides to every story crap. With that, I was a little bit like, meh.
Yeah.
There are two sides to every story. Well, you know what? That's true, but sometimes one side is more important than the other
Well,
side.
and like I get and agree that what happened to Roger is like, she is right to be upset about it, and it is totally his fault, but it's not like he knowingly beat up her husband. And so, right, he thought that he was doing that to her rapist, and those are very different things. However, all that shit he said
Was not necessary.
No. Claire's point in the great scene they have at the end where she's like, I mean, you said a bunch of things you don't mean. She also said a bunch of things that she doesn't mean. It doesn't mean that it's not going to hurt for a long ass time and there's not going to have to be work, but you are very similar and you've got hot tempers and whatever. And that makes it. Anyway, point being, Jamie, yeah, feel bad. You should feel bad.
Yeah, go ahead and wallow in this for a minute.
Don't say that shit to your fucking daughter. Don't say that shit to any woman. God damn it.
Yeah, God.
What is your fucking problem?
Then we cut to Fergus. He's trying to find Stephen Bonnet, and he's in a pub somewhere asking about him. And some guy's like, "Oh, he's going to be in Wilmington soon, but good luck for him taking you with that wooden hand." And then walks away and is like, "Fuck you, dude." And Fergus is sad. Boo. And then he turns around to leave, and there's a wanted poster right by the door. Who's on it? Murtaugh. There he is. And it's a pretty good sketch of him. So what I'm saying is that maybe Bree needs to meet the guy who's doing the police sketches for Wilmington, and they need to get together and like work on technique. Anyway, it was good. It was the best charcoal sketch we've seen so far in a show where now we've seen at least 5.
It was a good sketch.
Yeah.
I was into it. I'd hit it.
So Fergus rips the poster down. He's like, "Fuck!" And he goes back home, and as he's coming in,
I'm sorry, Julie. He was like,
merde. And he rips it down, and you see him go into his house, and Marsley's there. She's got a baby. She's behind her in a room. There's Murtaugh talking to some regulator dude. You can tell that Marsley is not into it. And Fergus comes in, and he's sad, Fergus. Boo. And she's like, "What about today?" So obviously he's trying to find a job. She asks him about the butcher. He's like, "Only men can butcher."
It's funny because that's what actually happened.
That is what actually happens. We're like, "Oh, Fergus."
They like the men to butcher, not be butchered.
Aww.
You know what? I miss his happy face. I'm going to need Fergus to cheer up a little.
So Marsley also needs Fergus to cheer up a little. And she later will take the case to Murtaugh. But right now she's busy with Fergus saying, "What the fuck is up with Murtaugh? Why is he here? What's happened? What's this tax collector thing? Who are these people in my house?" And you can kind of tell that she's a little like,
Isn't it enough that we're harboring a fugitive? Do we have to like actually conduct illegal activities in my kitchen?
Right.
Do you have any idea how hard making food is right now? I need every surface.
space.
Are you kidding? I have 4 loaves of bread rising right now just so that we don't starve. Like, can we please? I've been soaking those beans for 20 years. I'm gonna need my table back.
And then she says something about, she knows something about the Stephen Bonnet plan, and she's like, "I don't know how I feel about you going to find a murderer."
Yeah, no shit.
And she's not cool with that. And
Marsley is, I take it back, Marsley is the smartest one in this
She is
episode.
very
Lord
smart.
John, second smartest.
so then we flash back to River Run, and it's Bree lounging on a couch, very pregnant. Well, not very pregnant, but visibly pregnant. We can now see that she's got a baby bump. And Phaedra comes in with all these sumptuous and beautiful fabrics and is like, "Come on, stand up. I'm going to make a new dress for you." And Brianna's like, "Oh, no." And I'm like, I mean, even if you didn't want to go to the party, having like a bespoke tailor make you a dress, wouldn't you just be like, "All right."
Pretty. I mean, like
Well, when you're depressed, you know.
I guess. And then I didn't realize it until about 2 minutes into the scene, but Phaedra has a Scottish accent, which I thought was a really nice touch because obviously she's been raised in that home.
Yeah, most of the our first episode at River Run was so fraught that I think that kind of stuff is hard to notice. But most of the slaves at River Run have Scottish accents.
Not Ulysses, though.
Not Ulysses.
He's
no.
voice proud.
Oh, he's got a
great voice.
He's got a great voice.
So Brianna is refusing the dress, but then she asks Phaedra to sit down for her and so that she could sketch her, and Phaedra is very surprised. And then Brianna tells her quite simply, "You're very beautiful," and that's very touching. And Phaedra has a nice moment.
It's the thing I liked about that moment is that Bree says it like it's a fact because it
is a
a
fact.
fucking fact, right? Where she's like, well, you must know this isn't like my opinion. This is like you're the best looking person I've ever seen, and look at me. So like, what? Have you seen my dad? Like but you're the best looking person I've ever seen, and it's like. No one has ever said anything like that to her in her life, which is fucked up on a bunch of levels. I thought that actress, whose name is...
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, she was very good in that scene.
Her name is Natalie Simpson.
She did great.
Good job, Natalie Simpson. Yeah. So we find out that the reason why Angie Costa is so hot on Brie having a new dress is that she's throwing a party, single guy
in
party.
the USA.
She's bringing over all the eligible bachelors to have a sniff around her niece. Ugh.
Ugh.
Well, that's what it was.
That was what it was.
And then we cut to Brianna downstairs, and Angie Costa comes with these beautiful earrings and is like, well, if you won't have a new dress made, perhaps we'll take one of my old dresses and, make it look good for you. Here's these earrings that go with it. Bree's like, no, I don't want it. And Angie Costa's like, you're going to. But she does it in the most crafty way possible. Allison, please describe.
So they're sitting around and Brianna's like, I told her I don't need a new dress. And she's like, right. So she's altering one of mine. What are you got anything to say now? No? Great. Okay. So let me tell you some lovely anecdotes about your grandparents. You into this? Yeah? Great. We'll talk about it more at dinner. And it's like, it's exactly like that. Subtle than that. But you could see Brianna being like, oh, yes, I'm enjoying this conversation. Oh, I see what you did. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, fine. I'll go to the dinner. And she doesn't know yet that this is Husband Fest 1876 or whatever it is, or 1769, whatever it is.
Nice. Didn't Phaedra say something about a lord? Like, she may have hinted at it when she came in with the fabrics.
Well, she said there was a lord coming.
But she didn't say it was going to be like all dudes. A sausage fest, as it were.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't really all dudes, but... it might as well.
Well, it was all dudes and either their sisters or their moms.
Yeah.
Like everybody brought their sister or their mom.
Yeah.
Oh, I
didn't catch that.
Keep putting those in context. You're just like, that's a weird party.
It is a weird party.
It is a weird party. Did Colonel Wolf have anyone with him? Or was he by himself?
Lieutenant
He was by
Wolf.
himself.
Well, you remember
Lieutenant
he wants
Wolf.
to marry
Jocasta.
Right.
Right. Okay. Well, until he saw her niece.
Right.
Really,
Well, because he wants that sweet, sweet property. That's
Right.
what he wants. He
Well.
wants the control. But if he also gets like a hot piece of ass in the deal, that guy is funny.
He's very funny.
He and Billy Boyd were really funny together. That God, it's been a while since we've had a proper. And they didn't use the music, but that was a proper. We punch and kick and fight.
That character's name is Lee Boardman.
Lee Boardman
Actor's
plays
name.
Lieutenant Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
He's
look at
great.
his IMDb photo. He looks completely different than he looks in the show.
He looks like.
Oh, hey. Hey, girl.
What else,
girl,
what
hey.
else is he up in? He's up in. Oh, he's in The Last Kingdom. Oh, he is in The Last Kingdom. He's really good in that, actually.
Nice.
I like that show. Assassin's Creed. He's a voice actor. Great. The Five. I'm just Beowulf.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, good job, Lieutenant Wolf.
Yeah.
You and the Hobbit were very funny together.
Yeah.
They were. You guys were
God,
ridiculous.
we sat there watching the episode during the live stream, and I just kept waiting for the moment when I would get to make a Tom Bombadil joke, and it never happened. I can't. He's not even in the movies, but every time anything Lord of the Rings related enters my head, all I want to do is find a way to crack a Tom Bombadil joke. And it
Neil
didn't happen
hated
here.
the Tom Bombadil section of the book. I quite liked it, and I was kind of sad when it wasn't in the movies. I understand why it wasn't there, but
liked and didn't like it. You know what I mean? When I was reading it, I was like, well, this is pointless.
Why
And
is it taking so long?
I love it. It's fucked up. It's just, what is this? I don't even know where am I high right now? And then the story moved on.
and then it was like never to be heard of from again.
Yep.
Like bye.
Bye.
Tom Bombadil is the unfired pistol on the wall in a Chekhov play. Yes, I'm glad. That's the best thing I've done in my 42nd year. It's new though. All right, so we do flashback very briefly to Marcelly fucking hilariously waking Murtaugh up in his sleep.
Like
she
this,
comes
hold
in.
on. It
She
goes
comes
like
in
this.
real quiet.
Tiptoe. She picks up a pitcher and then she's like, I think I'll get myself something to drink.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Did I wake you?
And then she turns around with 2 mugs.
She's like, here you go, pal.
We're going to have a chat.
She pulls up a chair and she's like, I'm going to need you to take my husband I'm gonna need you to ask him to fight with you. With the regulators. And Murtaugh's like, and he holds up his hand and she's like, yeah, I know. That's why I'm asking you. He doesn't feel like a man and I need him to feel like a man. Or what did she say? I'll have a whole man or no man at all or something. It's like, oh, okay, Marcy, whatever.
Well, inside, not outside.
Oh, okay, fine.
Inside, right? Mm-hmm. Here's something in the mind. This conversation happens in a later book around a different topic.
Okay. Does it have to do with his hand, though? Does it still have to do with that? Okay.
So Fergus has a hard time getting work because a lot of work, particularly then, is manual labor. Even printing, is like we saw from the print shop episode, is you really have to push it and stroke it to get that printing press to work. Yeah. Printing. Anyway, so he has a hard time getting work, and Marsley has, again, different subject, but has a you have to ask Fergus to help you do this dangerous thing with you conversation with Jamie. Mm-hmm. And Jamie doesn't say, well, if you want him shot, I'll go out back and shoot him for you, which means Marsley does not get to say, well, I mean, he's not the one with his boots on my blankets.
And then Murtaugh's like, nah, she's right. And then he kicks off.
It's great.
That was a really good moment.
Anyway, but the result is ultimately the same, which is that she knows that he feels like he's not a whole man because he's not
providing.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And isn't able to do certain things. So she wants him to feel in the banks, he knows that that's what's happening. But it still makes him feel better because she cares and because Jamie cares and all of that. But here he's just like, it's actually very nice when he's asked and says that he wants to, he needs to stay with his family.
Right. Thank you for asking me, but my place is here with my wife and my daughter. And it's like, well, okay, but at least he felt better. And then you see Marsley thank Murtaugh. That's a little bit later, but she thinks she's like, thank you. Mm-hmm. It's very sweet.
It's a nice little scene.
So it is a good scene between the two of them. We missed you, Muesli. All right, back to the party. And there's all these guys just like staring at her. I missed her entrance, I think. She comes down the stairs like fucking Norma Desmond in the dress. And, of course, all the men's toes roll out like the fucking wolf in that Tex Avery cartoon. Awooga! They're all just staring at her. Well, except for one guy who really isn't impressed. We'll see why later. And then
they try to one-up each other, and Pippin the Hobbit brings her into this room and is like, which of these daemons do you think the most beautiful? She's like, I don't know. Why don't we ask that extremely old woman her opinion? Please, somebody. I feel like this is a setup.
The one that was weird about her drawing the slaves, too, remember?
Yes.
Oh, that was a gross scene.
Yeah.
And so they're all in the parlor staring at these jewels when the real jewel walks in.
The cavalry comes. Right.
Oh, thank you, Lord John Grey. He walks in. Oh, he's so good. He does a bow, and it's like the entire room just deflates.
The most perfect bow anyone ever bowed.
All the men are like, we're fucked.
You see Billy Boyd and
Lieutenant Wolf.
Lee, where's his name? God damn it. Lee Boardman exchange glances, and they're like,
fuck this guy.
Jesus Christ, who is this bitch? And just all of them are immediately like, what? Oh, and he's a lord? And it's like Mr. fucking Darcy walked in is what happened. That is what happened. He just came out of the lake is what happened. But he stopped to put on a fresh suit of clothes first.
Yeah, his costume is also bumping. The only thing in this room that can compete with Lord
those couches.
John Grey for my heart are those two blue couches.
They're beautiful.
That upholstery. My grandmother is up in heaven looking down going, I should have had that upholstery. Like, that's how I feel every time I see those couches. I'm like, oh, God, they're so beautiful. All right. Then Murtaugh asks Fergus to join the militia. And he's like, nah, I need to stay with my wife and daughter. And he feels better. Marsley's like, yeah. Then we do find out that Stone Cold is now in town.
And she comes in, to say the Gloriana is here.
Yeah, the boat came in. And they're like, sweet, let's get to the pub. We're going to go find Stone Cold. Bad idea. Then we have a great dinner party scene, which it took me back a little bit to season 2, and I kind of miss this type of thing. Everybody's just being stupid dinner party people. John's telling his beautiful story, like everybody's all engaged. He's so witty, everybody's having a great time. And then John like throws the mic to Bree and is like, what about you? And she's like, I don't have any good stories like that. But you know what I can do? And then she fucks around with some psychology shit where people imagine that they're alone in the woods. Who are you with? And what's there with you? And the one guy she asks is the judge. What is the character's name? Judge Forbes?
Forsyth.
Forsyth?
Yeah. This isn't... But the character is in the books, but all of this is an invention of the show. And credit where it's due, we are pretty hard on MBR around these parts. But apparently this was all his idea, and I think it's great. And we'll do... After we talk about this, we have to do a little in the books because there's a change.
Okay.
That's like, I didn't know if they were going to do any of this storyline because of the way it's handled. Anyway, we'll
the
get
character
there.
in this episode is actually called Judge Aldersice.
Really?
Andrew Steele is his name, is the actor's name.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, Judge.
So maybe it's a judge they haven't met yet. Or
But it was weird that it would sound similar. Maybe they're trying to... I bet they changed it so that it doesn't sound like Forbes.
Yeah, because that's actually what I read first, and I was like, what?
Yeah. So he says, well, I was alone in the woods I was walking with Jesus. And everyone's like, Jesus. Like, sure.
Yeah. Laying it on a little thick, buddy.
And then...
What are you, one of the writers for Outlander?
Oh! And then Brianna goes, well, when people say they're walking with Jesus, usually that means something about confession or forgiveness. And he's like, well, in my line of work, I do have to forgive a lot of people. She goes, no, usually it's personal.
Well, because of the squirrel.
Oh,
The
yeah. And what
squirrels
animal was with you? Squirrels
hoard
from my mother's
things.
garden.
So,
Right.
like secrets. And mom is like, nope, my son doesn't have any secrets from me. And he's like, will you excuse me, please?
Yes. And then he's got to
Take
go.
the air.
Yeah, I gotta go. So everybody's kind of a little titillated and freaked out by her game, but then it kind of ends there. Or doesn't Billy Boyd say, "What about me?"
Well,
Like,
he
is
does
it
at
my
the
turn?
end. So she turns to Lord John. Everyone else is still talking about the judge's abrupt exit. She turns to Lord John and asks him, and he's all startled. I don't know why. He's like, well, I was thinking about your father.
Doy.
She's like, what? But, really? Why? Because you guys don't know each other all that well, do you? He's like, oh, and somehow they get to talking about the fact that Jamie told her to go and check in on her, told him to go and check in on her. She's like, I don't need, what? I don't need that. And then she stands up and pretends to faint so that she can GTFO.
Well, she was trying to leave, but then Billy Boyd was like, hey, wait, is it my turn?
Oh, because he wants to take her for a walk.
Right, and then she goes. Then she's all like, "Oh, feeling faint."
Oh, gosh.
Which, you guys, I gotta remember that. Even to this day, that's gonna get you out of situations, ladies. If you just realize you're in an uncomfortable social situation or whatever, just pretend to faint, and everybody's gonna leave you the fuck alone. You can go do whatever you want. You can be like, "Oh God, I feel like shit. I gotta go get a glass of water," and then never return to said conversation.
I'm a fan of my period, which is what they say on 30 Rock. But still, menstrual cramps, always a good excuse.
So she gets into the living room, and Lord John joins her there.
Yeah, and it's like, are you okay? If you want, I can ride for a doctor because he's very nice.
And then Lizzie comes running in hot
Loose lips, Lizzie.
with the in your condition. Lord John Grey did not know that Brianna was pregnant.
Well, no one there does because they cinched her the fuck up.
Phaedra did a great job
is
on that dress.
very good at tailoring.
Yeah.
She does not look pregnant.
So Lizzie comes in hot with those flapping fucking gums and is like, in your condition. And Brianna's like, God damn it, Lizzie. And Lizzie's like, sorry, and goes away. Oh, Lizzie.
And then David Barry, in his being so fucking good at his jobness, goes, I take it this is not from illness. And she's like, no, I'm knocked up.
And he's like,
why?
Okay.
Oh, now I understand. All right. Well, how about we talk tomorrow? I'm going to let you be pregnant and I'm going to go.
Here's a note from your dad.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta
right.
go. And so
in the books, they drop, Jamie and Claire and Ian drop Brianna off at River Run. And she already knows Jocasta because they were there earlier, whatever. And when they leave, Jamie comes up to try to say goodbye to her, and she doesn't turn around and won't talk to him. So he leaves a note on the ground, and she doesn't read it for a long time. Mm-hmm. So that's it. There's Lord John. All of this stuff happens in the book. Lord John does show up, and they do get engaged and all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. But the circumstances around that are a little bit different.
Okay. So what do I got there? Lizzie coming in hot. Got that. Okay. Then we're at Merton Fergus in the bar waiting for Stone Cold to show up. Stone Cold shows up, fucking Murtaugh straight up cold cocks him, knocks him out. Great.
Follows him into his room, and Bonnet is like, I think you've got the wrong room, sir. Or whatever the fuck his fucking accent is. I don't know. It's Feelers.
And Murtaugh's like, yeah, I was looking for a gentleman. You're no gentleman. Bam! Bam! And then he's on the ground. So at least they were successful in knocking him out before Stone Cold killed him, which is what I thought was going to happen. Okay. Brianna sees... later that night, she is asleep in bed, looking at the note that her father wrote her, still not ready to read it. She needs a midnight snack. She's eating for two, after all. She pads slowly down the stairway in the darkness.
And then it sounds like somebody else needed a midnight snack.
Yep. And then it sounds like sex noises, like right there. And she's like, what the? And instead of doing what any normal person would do, which is go, oh, somebody's getting some, grab a wheel of cheese and head back upstairs. She's like, what the? And she peeks in a door.
Oh, that was a hallway. That's the thing.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't think that she could have gone for cheese. I think the way was blocked by the fucking.
But
that
she ate a bite of something before she went in. Remember, there was something by the
then
glasses.
Maybe she went down to the kitchen, and it was definitely in a hallway.
Or maybe was it in the hallway or in the kitchen? Like she was going to go into the kitchen. I don't know. Whatever. It was.
She saw the
quote unquote hidden away.
She saw a little doing it.
But Lord John
dark
Grey
nook.
and
It was a
the
dark nook.
it was a dark nook, and
that was some actually strong sexual content.
yes,
That was very, yeah.
As opposed to the
Weak
middling
sauce later.
sexual content.
So Lord John Grey and the judge are having sex. So it's clear that the judge was hiding secrets from his mother.
Yeah.
So
It looks pretty hot too.
Yeah.
They are feeling it.
and Bree now knows that Lord John Grey is gay. So she's surprised, obviously, but quietly, smartly leaves and goes back upstairs. But now she's got a bargaining chip.
So here is the in the books thing where this is the other reason that I want to give some credit to Matthew B. Roberts. So I was surprised that they were doing all of this partially because it's such when she we're about to talk about this scene, but when she blackmails Lord John, essentially attempts to blackmail Lord John, it's such it's just insanely shitty thing to do to somebody.
Right.
That I was a little bit surprised that they were going to let Brianna do that because it's harder to appreciate a character's emotional state sometimes when you're not actually in their head, and that chapter is from her perspective. But the other reason I was surprised is because in the books, she does see Lord John sneaking off to have sex with someone, but it's with a slave. In the books, that the implication is that is consensual. He sneaks off to the slave quarters. And I think she sees them talking at one, smiling at each other or something at one point. But of course, it's not that simple. And I think it would have been really, really bad to have done the story in that way.
Yeah.
Because of course, anyone that you're having sex with, who is a slave, doesn't actually have the ability to say no.
Right.
So, it's coercion at best and rape at worst. So I think that was a very smart change. And then throwing in the psychology game so that you have an understanding of a little bit of who this character is. And it's not just a random person at the party.
Right.
So then it's also two closeted men who are having this sexual relationship, whether it's for the first time or not, I think is really smart. All of that I think is really smart. And I also think they handled the scene that we're going to talk about in a minute here really well. So then quick, Murtaugh gets arrested and he's like, hey, but I got Stephen Bonnet over here. And they're like, okay, fine, but you get in the wagon. And he pretends to punch Fergus, so it looks like Fergus was in a fight with him. And the guys are like, get out of here, one hand. And he's like, peace. How do you say peace in French? And then he goes home, but Murtaugh's arrested. Bad news. We don't actually see them arrest Stephen Bonnet, but one of the guys is like, Stephen Bonnet, the murderer. So at least we know that they know he's a criminal.
And then back to Brianna at River Run. She's depressed. She's sleeping, and Phaedra comes in and throws open the curtains, and she's like, there's a certain hobbit downstairs that would like to talk to you. And Brianna's like, ugh, no, tell him it'll be an hour. I'm going to go take a walk. And
I'll be there in time for second breakfast.
That's right. And tell Lord John to meet me by the big oak tree or whatever. She does that to Lizzie, sorry. She calls Lizzie in.
Yeah, because Phaedra says someone's down there, and I think he's going to ask you to marry him. And she's like, oh, fuck.
No. Tell him I need an hour. I need an hour. Okay. Lizzie! Lizzie comes in. She's like, I got to get dressed. Please tell Lord John to meet me by the big oak tree. Something. And Lizzie, be discreet. And Lizzie does this thing where she looks back over her shoulder like, you right. And then she leaves. So Lord John and Brianna meet out in the middle of a field by a creek. It's not like they're hidden or anything. They're just there talking.
They're having a stroll.
Right. And Brianna's like, okay, here's the bag. Will you marry me? And Lord John's like, good God. What? Clutching his pearls as if he had them. And then she's like, if you don't marry me, I'm going to tell everybody about that you're gay.
Well, she also says, like, you can take me to, I should go with you to Virginia for a while, but you don't have to live with me. I'll sign a paper saying I don't want your money. I just need you to fucking marry me, okay, bro? He's like, what?
What? I'm going to tell everybody that I saw you with the judge last night. I'll write letters. That's actually what she said. And then he's got a great comeback when he's like, knowing what the penalty is for that, you would do that? And I don't think she was prepared for that.
She gets kind of flustered, but still says, like, I'll do what I have to do for my child.
Mm-hmm. She said she'll tell Jamie is like her next step. She's like, well, I'll tell Jamie.
That's right. And Lord John's like, bitch, he know.
In the books, they sort of skate up to it here where basically she's like, well, I know you're gay, so it's not like you're going to have sex with me. And he's like, girl, I was married to a woman. You think that whole time I just didn't actually have sex with my wife? You think that
I am fully capable of performing my husbandly duties.
Right? In the next, there's this implication that he would be able to do it because she looks like Jamie.
Woof.
Oh.
Where he's like, yeah, that'll teach you to play with fire. You really think, yeah, well, but here's the thing. I'd be super into that. Like, excusing all else, man, it would be great to be like, that red hair is a very useful visual aid. Thank you. It's really, could you please put on this shirt of your dad's? I really appreciate that. She's like, what the fuck? He's like, I'm not going to, but you probably shouldn't blackmail gay men because you assume that they won't have sex with you. Like, what? Mm-hmm. Because, of course, that's why the funny thing is that Brianna, I think because she's fucking panicked and understandably, right? Like, very emotionally distressed. It doesn't occur to her that this person that she knows to be a close friend of both of her parents would just go ahead and get fake engaged to her. Like, that was all Lord John's plan. It does not even occur to her that he would say yes anyway. She feels like she has to talk him into it, when if she'd been like, listen, I just really need these dudes not to propose to me. Can you please help me out, man? He probably would have said yes. And instead she's like, well, because you're gay, you definitely won't want to fuck me. So you're the ideal husband.
Candidate.
Can we make this happen? And he's like, what? Yeah. Your mom is weird, but you're weirder. This is really weird. This is really strange. I just want to play chess with your dad. I don't know what the deal is. Why all these Fraser women got to be in my business?
And then it settles down a little bit, and the end of the scene is quite nice when she admits to him that she doesn't know if it's Rogers and that she was actually raped, and he softens a bit, and the word hope comes into it. Barf. I don't know. And then she takes a deep breath and heads back to the house, and there's the Hobbit ready to propose, and he's just about to say the words. He stands up to walk towards her, and right behind her in walks Lord John. Are you here to tell everyone our happy news? We are engaged. And it's like, Lord John, you scamp.
And Billy Boyd's face just goes,
And then he's like, I got to get out of here. Bye.
See ya.
And then he just leaves. He's like, good day. And Jocasta like, bye.
And then she walks up to Brianna, and like the side of her face that's away from Lord John, she's like, I don't know how you did this, but you are certainly a Mackenzie.
I did miss something a little bit earlier that I feel is important leading into the final on the road scene. There was a moment earlier in the show where we see them setting up camp, and Claire, Jamie, and Ian, setting up camp. And Claire and Jamie are like very separate from each other. And Ian's like, Claire, please, just forgive him. And like, because it's too hard for them to be on the road and be so separate from each other and everything. Like, it hurts me to see you both hurting this way. And she's like, I'm not mad at him. I'm just mad at the situation. Mad. And Ian's like, come on, man, come on. And Claire looks over and she's like, But she hasn't decided yet. That was earlier in the show.
Well, and then Jamie is trying to do this Scottish thing where he just like grabs fish out of the water, whatever the fuck he's got, he's got a goose and he's doing something.
He was
it's
cutting
very
grass. He was cutting grass, which was
he's
weird.
doing something, and then he cuts his hand. And he's like, Claire's like, oh, are you hurt? And he's like, yes, but it's not my hand, or whatever the fuck he says. Something really stupid.
Yeah. And then Ian, now we're caught up. Ian comes running and is like, Rollo, no! And there's a big bone. And of course, the bone expert, Claire, runs up and is like, this is human. Like,
I would have given all of the money I own for her to go, it's dinosaur. Dino DNA.
So they walk over and they find the rotting skeleton of our old guy that was on the rope with Roger. So they know they're on the right track. And Ian's all like, I remember this jacket. This guy was with them. He was with the Mohawks. So at least we're on the same kind of trail going here. And then we come back to their campsite at night, and we all have a question about their tent.
What the fuck is this tent?
I heard an echo inside of that tent.
It was so big. Why?
It was so, like... Where'd they get all that fabric?
I was going to say, where'd they get all that canvas? God, for God's sakes.
It's not on their goddamn horses, because they're just horses. They're not on a cart or something.
A tent like that is incredibly heavy.
Yeah.
That's just like a lot of
it's
fabric.
Not like it's possible that it's just kind of draped over trees and
but
shit.
the way it was shaped in like every angle that we saw the
Very
shot,
confusing.
It felt like it was a big square.
Y'all, I know some of you are history nerds, and I know some of you, I don't know, do more Outlander reading on Twitter than I do. If any of you have any idea what the fuck is going on with that tent, it was like the TARDIS. I bet it was like it's bigger on the inside or something. I don't know. Where did they get Time Lord technology, and why did they make it look like it's still outside?
She like traversed a football field to go say hi to him.
She did. She had to take like multiple steps once inside the tent to get to him.
Ian wasn't in there, and then it was like, and there were multiple walls because I thought maybe it was just a divider, but then there's also cloth behind Jamie.
Yep.
So like, where are they?
Yeah. But they have a nice conversation about forgiveness, and it's going to take Brie a while. She's a lot like you. We talked about this. And then they finally decide that they're cool, and then they have sex, but it's really weak sauce.
God, it was such a nice scene, though.
It was a good
start.
scene,
Yeah.
And Sam did a great job in this scene.
Yeah.
Katrina's always good, but he did a really good job. But the sex was a little weak sauce.
Oh, no, it was a really good start.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
It had the promise of being a hot sex scene.
I remember like the last episode where I was like, he said hi to her. That was really hot.
There is. Let's be real. The hottest thing that happens in this episode is when they're in the bar and you see this black hat, and then the hat tips up and it's Murtaugh. And then he winks. That's the hottest thing.
All right, so then I have a note here to remind you, Stephen Bonnet in the books.
Oh, I feel like there's a little element of that they're missing in this Stephen Bonnet story, because the reason she was apologizing and all that stuff, it makes perfect sense. Like keeping that, it's actually emotionally, it's more interesting if the big reason that Claire didn't tell Jamie, or I guess even like a subtextual reason, like, and whatever, it's fine, is that she likes having secrets with Brianna, where it's like there is a thing that's just the two of them. I think that is a very interesting idea to explore. However, in the book, the reason that they don't tell Jamie is because he would immediately leave and go try to kill Stephen Bonnet. Because it would be, first of all, he raped his daughter, but also he would feel like
it was his fault.
It was his fault, and that he was going to keep on hurting people, and it was his mistake that is making it possible.
Yeah.
And that is the very practical reason that they do not tell him that it's Stephen Bonnet. And that is just totally ignored here.
Well, it feels a little bit like they have to, because if it was addressed, then there'd be this next action of him actively not talking about how he sent people to go find him, right? Because like that's the next level of that. If she was to address that and say, "I'd be worried you're gonna go kill him," he'd have to go, "Oh, you're right. Well, I would never fuck."
And then like, hey, Murtaugh.
Yeah. So
On the down low, speaking of keeping secrets, why don't you go kill this guy for me? No, bring him to me so I can kill him.
I think well heard, but that's definitely that's what my brain goes, right? Is like they'd have to address that, and that also, we only have 2 more episodes left, you know?
It's coming though. You can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell by the next time in.
Yep.
And then the very last thing we see is Roger finally arriving at Shadow Lake, the Mohawk village, and they run him through a stick gauntlet, which hilariously, Allison was like, I just watched a show with this exact scene in it today that was not this show.
I'm Googling gauntlet of people punching.
Or like a pain gauntlet. This is in Star Trek.
Pain gauntlet? Who does it? Is it Kirk?
Klingons do it. Klingons do it to like...
Pain gauntlet?
It's like, well, hold on. Let me... Klingon pain corridor sticks. Something. Image. See this? No, yeah. So this is an image of one of the episodes that Worf goes through.
Oh yeah, where they just poke him with
and this
shocks.
is him regaining his what's it called? His honor back from his family, because like something happened and he had to go get his honor back. So he like walked down this corridor of Klingons poking him with sticks.
Weird.
Oh, Worf.
Pain sticks, as they call them.
Because I'm reviewing it, I can't say what show it is, but it's in this context, it's military, and seems to be some sort of like hazing or bonding ritual, like a whole macho brotherhood thing. But yeah, I was like, this is second time I've seen this today. What the fuck?
And this one is just for him to get to the end. It's kind of like, what did they say about it? This replacing someone they lost, or
well, this is what we think is happening, and this is another thing that doesn't exist in the book. So who knows? When we were talking about it, we all suspected that maybe this was his way of being accepted into the community, because Roger, in theory, does not know what the show has already told us, which is that they accept people into their tribe or village often to replace somebody else, right? So like, in theory, when Jamie killed the guy in the bear costume, they would have been able to accept somebody to replace him. They didn't, but they would have been able to accept somebody to replace him. And here, whether Roger is actually accepted or not, I don't know. And whether he's replacing somebody or not, I don't know. But it did seem like, I mean, it seemed kind of festive, right? Like it didn't seem...
Well, it was scary as shit for him at first.
Absolutely.
But then he could tell that people weren't really...
They didn't hit him when he's down.
Right. They didn't hit him when he was down, and they weren't really like...
Well, and they were in orderly lines.
Right. They weren't really like going for him.
Right.
They, it was obviously a ritual or like specific point of some kind.
Yeah.
So he kind of freaked out at first. He was very scared, and then he kind of like was walking through like, oh, okay. And then that's the end of the episode.
Well, this is a really nice moment of this guy who's above him, who would be kicking him if they were trying to beat him up, goes, no, wait. And they all go like, yeah, he's back up. And then someone runs in and punches him in the mouth, and then the scene goes to black.
Yeah.
All right. So,
I think that's funny. I like physical humor.
Julie, who is your platinum pamplemousse for this episode?
Lord John Grey.
Yeah, David Barry.
Yeah, just him coming in and like it was just so impactful. He's the best. They do really tend to give him some of the shavviest dialogue though, and so
but he makes it work.
He does make it work, but I need them to stop laying that at his doorstep. He's just he's so charming and he's easy to look at, and he's always got the best costumes. It's him for me.
Cool. Janine?
Fergus.
Oh yeah, Fergus did have a good episode.
Fergus doesn't-
Caesar, damn boy.
Yeah, it's a good episode. Like he's going through a lot. Like the Fergus character obviously is not. I've never seen the younger version of Fergus, and I'm only getting introduced now that I'm a regular watcher. But like he's he used to be a very confident, capable individual who's now like going through a rough patch, and I think Caesar's playing that very well. So
I agree.
Yeah, I liked it.
You know what I appreciate about this episode? It's very easy to pick like any number of people because pretty much everybody's doing a pretty good job, but it feels like an ensemble show. Like there isn't one story that dominates. I mean, obviously it's Brianna's story is the A story here, but there are so many people involved in that and they all do so good that it's really easy to pick anybody. I think I'm going to go with Lauren Lyle, who plays Granola.
Oh, yeah.
We should really I'm bypassing Muesli.
We're just going to call
We're
her
gonna call her
granola.
granola.
What are we calling it, granola?
Or granoli.
Granola. I like it.
Granoli sounds like some Italian candy.
Granoli. Granoli. Yeah, I think, in her, 2-3 scenes tops, which were all short, I think she just did a really, really good job. It was all really subtle and playful and kind of funny and it was sort of established the tone for the episode for me, I think, a little bit. Her and what's-his-face.
Her IMDb picture. Ooh, saucy.
Hell yeah.
What's our guy's name?
The lieutenant?
Lieutenant Wolf.
Lee Boardman.
Lee Boardman.
With an honorable mention to Lee Boardman.
And his eyebrows.
Yeah, those all that side glance. I fucking love side glance, and it was really good.
Yeah.
All right, on a doing it scale.
Well, okay.
From, let's see. You haven't seen this one yet. Shit. I'm going to use it anyway. From the episode of Mad Men where Sally Draper walks on her dad hitting it with somebody. Nope, sorry. Where Sally Draper walks in on Roger Sterling hitting it with somebody.
Really?
Yeah. At the Codfish Ball is the name of that episode. I don't know. Eyes Wide Shut. That's people in nice clothes fucking in hallways.
I guess that's true. I'm going to go off to one side where it is a dark nook and there are two men enjoying each other a great deal. And it was a shock and a surprise and a delight. And that was Wet Hot American Summer.
Oh, yeah.
Bradley Cooper and what's the other guy's name? I always forget his name. Oh, God.
What's his face? Yeah.
Everybody knows who I'm talking about if you've seen it. Anyway, it
Michael
was just
Ian Black.
Yeah, thank you, Michael Ian Black. It was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
What about you?
Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna go with this might be a little too on the nose, but it was kind of a nice little moment. Brokeback Mountain.
Oh yeah.
It's a little on the nose, but I mean it was like, it was there's some hot moments in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna go with. No, I got nothing. I got nothing. Too tame. Not inspiring.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know. I'm gonna go with the general rating of PG-13 because there's a lot of cutting away. Although it still wouldn't get it because it's
Two
gay
dudes.
sex.
Yeah.
So what should be a PG-13 except for we have incredibly fucked up guidelines about what is and isn't adult. There we go. All right. Get up and get a drink.
Actually, what'd your scale go?
Yeah. This one would have been difficult.
Yeah. I don't know. It was very, how about this? I'm not going to have a scale for this one because I just want to put my finger on what I think, really. Mm-hmm. It was really well paced.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And all the plots were really well balanced, which is part of why it was so enjoyable. Mm-hmm. So it never occurred to me to get up and get a drink.
Right.
But I also wouldn't have felt weird pausing it.
Yeah. I agree with that.
I think at the last groan of hope, I think I would have stood up and walked away.
Getting up to get a drink and needing a drink are two different things.
Yeah.
Too many hopes, you guys.
Too many.
All right. I would be remiss if I did not do this. Janine, not you, Janine. Another Janine.
Oh, yeah.
If you're listening right now, Janine, this is your shout out from your husband, Carl. He approached us on our Facebook page and said that we met at Wizard World.
You took a picture with me. I remember it.
Yeah. So, Janine, what's up from
Janine?
Yay! Okay, that's it.
We did skip a scale, though.
What was the scale?
The costume scale.
Oh, fuck. I always forget about costume scales. Janine, I'm sorry. We're going to do that again.
That's okay. We'll just do it out of order.
All right, costumes. Well, Lord John Gray.
Yeah.
And Brianna new dress.
I mean, Angel Costa, man, her fucking
That
gown.
tweed, that close up on that tweed.
Yeah.
There was some good shit.
I mean,
Let's
and it's
do-
fabric. Let's throw the couches inside of that too. Yeah.
Set dress.
Let's do the awkward stills from the J. Crew catalog, because there was a lot of. I'm thinking about like the tweed that you get in close up. There was a lot of like posing. Oh, she makes Phaedra pose. I'm sticking by this. The J. Crew catalog to like draw me like one of your French girls.
Something with really good costumes that go from regular wear to fancy wear.
The Anthropology catalog.
I'm gonna go with. You know what I'm gonna go with? I'm gonna go with The Favorite.
Ooh, yes, that's true, because she
yeah.
does go from being a servant to in the court, and you get to see the progression. And
Yeah.
Well, and you also get to see the reverse of like someone who's in court and then suddenly is about to be thrown into a prostitute.
And you also get to see the queen, who sometimes when she's just in her bedroom is just in a fucking nightgown and doesn't give a shit.
Covered in cake. Oh, God. That scene.
Well,
oh, God.
and, in terms of Lord John Grey, I was thinking about that amazing shooting outfit that Rachel Weisz wears.
Oh, yes.
yeah.
With the pants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a very good movie, guys. You should see it.
Oh, God, the cake.
Anybody else?
No.
All right. Works for me. So that's our episode. Ending on time.
I know.
It's great. We are also well paced.
Yes, we are today. And Allison does have a very fun interview coming up, so maybe you'll hear about it later.
Yeah,
maybe
we'll
you'll
see.
read about it later.
We'll see. You will. I have to go interview somebody, but I will tell you who after it runs. Hold on, I'm pulling up our list. So you should come hang out with us on the internet. You can find us at facebook.com/podlandercast. You can find us on Twitter at podlandercast. You can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/podlanderdrunkcast. And you can send all of that information to Janine directly, because the more people that send it to him, the more likely he is to actually remember all of it.
I should just edit that part out of one episode and just send you the sound file of just that.
I'll just
Write
listen,
it down.
I'll just listen to it like on my commutes, just so
Or
I can
just write it down and then have it in front of you.
a little bit of both. I'll practice my lines and have the cheat sheet.
Yeah.
We want to thank all of our patrons because you're all fucking amazing. But in particular, we would like to thank the following. Oh, and I should say this. You can join us on our Slack channel if you pledge at $3
$3
or
or more.
There are a bunch of posts and messages you can access that include that link. But if you join and have a hard time finding the link to join, just shoot me a message and I will send it to you. We've got a bunch of new members in the last couple weeks, which is really fun. So welcome to our new Slack members. Anyway, we especially want to thank the following patrons: Amanda Newton, Ann Gavin, Ann Gibson, Beth Locke, Kara Marlowe, Katie Kirshner, Chantel Davis, Crystal Nanavati, Dr. J, Aaron Yutzi, Flourish Root, Friday Payton, Heather Moore, Ida with an I, Jenna Polkowski, Jen Lander Drunklin, Catherine Marshall Eastman, Kiki the Wise, Lori McGuire, Mary Lumpkin, Meredith M, Meredith Ottery, Molly Layton, Ruth McCormick, Chantal Salters, Tanner Cole, Tara Lucchino, Trish McCrary, Viv Pickles, and Kathleen Moniz. Hi, Mom. Also, a little extra love to Tanner Cole, who is having a really rough week. Sending you lots of good energy and thoughts and happy things. And sorry, the weather in Chicago is also shitty and making things presumably worse. Anyway, thinking of you. Anything else, guys?
No, just one more time. What up, Janine?
Yeah. Hey, Janine.
We hope you enjoyed this episode.
We'll be back next week for whatever fucking on the nose title they come up with for the next episode. And then it'll be the finale. And then hopefully we'll be doing a finale live show and then Doodlander. And then we go back into the old Doom phase.
Doom base.
Bye.